And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How are you all doing? And all that rubbish. Well, the story is, of course, we start our Premier League season with a rather unemphatic 2-0 win, which doesn't put us at the top of the table. But a win's a win, and we will take it. Still similar issues from seasons gone by, and hopefully, once you're all in, the crack will begin. Now, I'll tell you what, the thing about this particular game is obviously last season we had a reputation of being a second half team that would, you know, dominate the first half without necessarily scoring. And then the second half we'd make our dominance count. But then, this time around, we somehow allowed Wolves to get back into the game. And I think Gary O'Neill summed it up perfectly when he said that it was basically two moments of quality from our side that really undid Wolves. They defended very well for the most part. And they actually, gave us a good run for our money in the midfield. Partey in particular looked a bit of a shadow of himself and should have had more, taken more opportunities to get into the game. Declan Rice looked okay, but then went off with a rather worrying injury. And of course, you have to say that apart from Saka and maybe perhaps one or two others, it wasn't really a vintage performance. And even when William Saliba himself, who starred at the Euros, makes a horrible, mistake, literally gifting Cunha a chance to equalize and pull one back, only for the substitute to literally send it into Raya's grateful arms, you know that we're basically very rusty. And I think that's pretty much the theme in many ways. Instead of, really doing whatever we can to try to get into the swing of it, once again, we show a little bit of rust. And, I'd like to think that with the players we've got coming back in, the likes of Timber and Calafiori, who, came on, Timber obviously making his return from that horrific injury, replacing Zinchenko, and Calafiori also coming on, Trossard and one or two others, Jesus as well. We need to make sure that we improve our sharpness. And, the latest, of course, from the Berlin ground is that Aston Villa have taken an early lead through Amadou Onana from a Yuri Tillemans corner. And so Onana was actually considered not good enough to join Arsenal, but somehow leave it to Unai Emery to try and, turn a sow's ear into a silk purse, and he's pretty much done it again. So our second game is, of course, at Villa Park. It'll be Emery and Martinez and their lot against us again. 6 points taken off us, 2 clean sheets. We've already got some people saying that, a win is a win and it is a good start. And of course, that is, well, look, Mr. B, Steve, mate, you know that I normally don't want to be that type of person who looks a gift horse in its mouth. But, there are some issues. And you'd like to have a really emphatic start against a team we normally beat by a certain number of goals. I think today has shown that we are either ring rusty or still have some issues. And I don't care if Kai Havertz scored with that header from that Saka cross. He missed a few more chances, and he will miss more than he scores. I mean, maybe if he scores every game, don't get me wrong, he could have over 30 a season, and I suppose that'd be wonderful. But in many ways, he's also proving why he isn't really the finished article. I'm going to go through a few comments right now. Obviously, Warren's team talk in the building. Go on, Del Boy, give it to him straight. Well, if Del Boy were here, he'd give it to them straight, and I am trying to give it as much as possible. Happy with the win, but not happy with the performance. Ace is in the building. Striker badly needed. Shocking performance. Yeah, definitely a striker needed, and Havertz and Jesus are not going to be those strikers who will help us win. Because look, we beat Wolves today, but Wolves aren't exactly a team that is expected to, challenge us. And of course, back to Mr. B, live chat. Congrats. Always important to get off to a winning start. Agreed, not saying otherwise. But for all of the talk about how this is our opportunity to, go top, we aren't top at all. And we already have some guests in. I will bring them on. Not a bad performance. A striker would bring that balance. maybe not bad, Stephen C, but not exactly very good either. Big up to you as well, Luke James in the gaff, as Dell would say. Um, Henry Ray Baker in the building. Well done to Liverpool for a good win today. And of course, sadly, he wasn't able to come on. He had some technical difficulties, and but I am here, of course. And we got a lot of people wishing each other very well. Big up, of course. Big ups to everyone. And Onana scoring on debut, of course, as Mr. B mentioned. Hopefully, Mr. B will take a draw, but if not, we'll take a look at everything. And obviously, Brentford will be having Liverpool next week. And of course, as I mentioned, there are some technical difficulties. And Pargav in the building. Yes, I will be dropping the link once I get everyone in. And here is the link right now. But I want to have a little disclaimer. I want to make this basically a stream where the Arsenal fans get to come in first and have their say on everything, so that we can have a more comprehensive discussion of the game. And later on, maybe after about half an hour, I will be happy to let some of the other club fans on, because I know that Del Boy obviously has a great outreach and has a lot of people, following his channel from other clubs, other fans from other clubs. But we had to make this an Arsenal stream first and foremost. And good to see you as well, Henry. I will bring you on a little bit later, but I want to get the Arsenal fans on first, and I hope you can understand. So here is the link, and just getting posted right now. And listen, Steve, you might have to wait a few minutes, okay? Because I want to get the Arsenal fans on first and have a bit of a more comprehensive discussion with them. But this is the link, in fact, and it will be starred. Do not hesitate to click the link and join in. We had Warren backstage. I don't know why he's not here, but hopefully... Okay, so listening to the podcast, and you're working on your podcast for later. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much indeed, and we will have a little bit of a chat. And I'm keeping my eye on the game. Still 1-0 at the Berlin ground. Not a very easy place to go for Aston Villa, because I tell you what, their recent record against them has not been really good. Only one win in the last 12 games against the Hammers. So clearly, West Ham have been blowing bubbles. But under Julien Lopetegui, they haven't made the best of starts. And Unai Emery, once again, proving that he's a more than capable manager. I shudder to think what will happen when we, go to Villa Park and play against them later on. Now, I know that my camera is off. I just want to make sure that you can all see me clearly. Clearly you can't. My face is a little bit too dark. The light is not my best friend, so I will switch off the camera. But once again, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Arsenal fans, let's be having you, as the police would say. No, not that police with Sting. The coppers, as we would call them. And Henry saying, yes, Liverpool won, but it could have been so different for us in the first half. So, yeah, come on, please, wherever you are, let's be having you. I am waiting. And obviously the talk was about how, after the long international break with the Euros, the Copa America, and the Olympics, where we saw several players, getting involved, it's good to have some club football back. Now, some of you will know I always seem to prefer international club football, but club football is certainly not small potatoes by any means, and I do enjoy it. And we do have a guest who's also got his camera off. His device seems to be connected, and we welcome Varga, Mr. Condetti. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's life?
As usual.
One second.
Yeah. Of course, obviously, everyone in Florida has been affected by the hurricanes that's sort of come and gone. Thankfully, no reports of anything in the Gulf Coast, but in the central areas, there was some issues. How are you doing?
No, I'm good, man. I'm in Central Florida, so at this point, like, it's we're kind of used to we're kind of the infrastructure is kind of used to it here, but like they still get you still get a lot of rain. You still get a lot of rain, and it's not fun like when you're in like the middle of the night and you're just like you just hear your house getting pounded by rain. Like so, but thankfully good though. Thankfully good. Hurricanes are always fun.
Believe me, all the years I lived in Tampa, we also lived in a great deal of fear. I wouldn't have minded staying in Tampa, but my parents, being who they are, wanted me to take the Greyhound up to Spring Hill, which is pretty much the first stop on the way to Tallahassee from Tampa. But a good decision. Spring Hill is a safe zone in, I think it's in Hernando County,
Yeah, so
above
you're
Pasco.
right near
Yes.
Inverness, and all the.
Yep.
Uh,
Right.
you actually took the Greyhound, by the way. Like those are fun
What can
experiences. Those are interesting experiences, by the way. My time on the
Interesting
Greyhound.
doesn't begin to describe it. They either leave extremely late or extremely early, and if they're extremely early, then you know,
You meet some interesting
I
people
pity
there. I'll
you.
tell you that much.
I
You meet some
pity you.
interesting people on
No,
those Greyhounds.
the trick is to just keep your mouth shut and keep and mind your own business. But anyway, enough about Florida talk.
Yeah,
It's Arsenal talk, and if you heard my introduction, I was basically saying yes, it was a win. We'll take it, but certainly not emphatic. Many issues, and it's as if we still have a bit of a hangover from last season in a way. People are going to say, but Kai Havertz scored. Yes, but he also missed an absolute sitter in the second half.
yeah.
And you have to say that Saka, once again, was probably, in terms of contribution, our best player today. And well done to Arteta for taking him off. But, you know, not really the type of performance that would lay down a marker and say, we are challenging for the title. And as it stands, thanks in part to our ex-gunner Danny Welbeck, Brighton are now top of the league after thrashing sorry Everton. But if you saw the game today, what did you think of everything?
Yeah, so I was just on Tony's actually. Like I did a watch along there for this game, but
Yeah, big up to Tony
uh,
Gunner, by the way.
yeah. So one thing we were both talking about was okay. So the first half, I thought for me, I thought it was like a really slow game. I thought it was like we were really slow. I don't know. It was just like the intensity wasn't there. The first half, I thought Havertz was our best player because I thought he was making good runs. His finish was nice though, by the way. So like when you look at it, like he made a really good run in front of the center back and then just leapt really well and just that's the center back's goal. So that was a really good goal. The cross by Bukayo Saka was just as nice though. It was on the right foot and it actually, so the first goal was really nice.
Technically on the left foot, not the right.
Was it the left or yeah, it was on the left actually. It was on the left, yeah.
But his left foot is his right foot, so yeah, don't need to.
Yeah. No, it was his left foot. No, but yeah, like thinking about it now. The second, okay, so the Havertz, yeah, that Havertz miss, I know what you're talking about. The one with the one where he just skied it into the he flicked it like way past into the right side. Yeah, he should have probably scored there, but he also got nearly like I think that was a red on like Mascara or whatever the guy's name is. He pretty much choked him out like on the floor. I think that was a definite red. That wasn't called bad refereeing. Saka for his part, I think so at 70 minutes, here's where I get annoyed with this game is because it was so slow, man. There was no creativity I think our creativity was really bad today, right? And so one of the things I'll say is I think Martinelli got like they pretty much like man marked they pretty much took Martinelli out the game because they didn't give him much space on that side. But the issue I had was Odegaard Odegaard has these games, like where he just doesn't he just doesn't. I don't know what it is. Like him and Rice together. So the system was like Partey was pretty much like back, and then like Odegaard and like Rice go create. But like neither of them were effective personally, right? Like I mean, Odegaard gave the ball away. Odegaard had like one shot at the end. I don't know what to do about that one because in bigger games we're gonna need his creativity. So I know he's gonna be up and down, but as far as like as far as our back four goes. I'll give it to Ben White. He took Hwang Hee-chan out the game, which was he was one of their bigger threats. Our center backs were always good, and then our left back, I think, all right, Zinchenko.
Not always. Saliba nearly gifted them a goal.
No, but I think that was Zinchenko's fault though, because that's when Zinchenko Zinchenko started going Zinchenko started inverting again, basically. So when he starts inverting, so there was parts in the first half where I think Mikel just told him stay on the left side, like stay as left back. We were fine. When he starts inverting again, like that's when like he started like that's when all the problems started with like you're talking about the 2 chances they got. That was because of that. It was because of that. So overall, I thought it was a slow game, man. I'll be honest with you, like, but then it's 2-0 opening day though. It's 2-0 opening day, decent goals. Just as long as we grow into the season, it's okay, I guess. I don't know. What do you?
Yeah,
What do
I
you make
mean,
of it?
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like, it is fair to say that quite a few of the, the teams expected to do very well are sort of struggling a little bit right now. Maybe they're
Yeah.
not quite as sharp as they'd be expected to be, and that's the worry for me. As I said, are we suffering from a little bit of a hangover from last season? Are we still sort of stuck in that same, torpor, as it were? And from the looks of it, I think we're actually going to need to do some business in September. There has been some news, of course, that Mikel Merino could be coming to Arsenal in the next few days. I actually think that, not just because of his, excellent work for Spain as they won the Euros, he does seem to be that type of, steadying influence, and he could very well lend some competition, especially with given some issues with Thomas Partey, who didn't really have the best of games today. So, what do you think of Merino, and will he adapt really well?
Yeah, so first of all, big up to everybody, by the way. I forgot to say that. Like BVB David, Mr. B, and Henry Ray Baker. Big up to all you guys.
And you can answer this question I've sort of come up right now, but
I
that will be
wanted
later.
Tony available. You need us. Yes, I definitely want. See that for me, that's okay. So with Marino, this was a big debate for me, is because all right, so we need somebody who needs. Is he a good fit for the club? I think so. Did he? All right, this whole winning something with Spain, he rode the bench. Let's have it. Let's be fair on that one. One thing that I wanted was like Champions League winning experience, right? So like, if we're gonna go like deeper into the Champions League, you might as well make that investment now. Find somebody who's had that like deep Champions League experience. I figured somebody was like Kimmich would be perfect for us. Now, unfortunately, every single time this gets bought up, people turn into accountants. Like wages become a huge talking point from people. We're gonna need like at some point we're gonna need like people with experience. It can't just be complete like you at least need like one really deep experienced player in every position. So I think Kimmich would have been nice. Yes, he would have been worth the wages, wouldn't he? What do you think? Like someone like Kimmich versus if he was available, because we still don't. Because there was rumors that he was available, and then it's like I don't know what everything just dissipated. So
I do like Kimmich, and I tell you what, he actually would be a huge improvement on Benny Blanco, as we derisively call him. And back to the question. Obviously, people are going to say, we should be happy at least Havertz scored. But again, he also missed more than a few. And so, if Tony were available, and I think Mr. B says he is, would you still take him, or do you think that ship has probably sailed now?
No, I don't think that ship has sailed. I think he's eventually going to go to a top 6 club. The issue with that one, people have mentioned, is Tony's wage demands, which is, for me, I think it's blasphemous. But like, yeah. So he has a character. He is a character, yes. But like Mikel Arteta, for example, at some point, if you're in your managerial career, you're gonna have to deal with difficult players with egos. You're not really gonna be a good manager until like you actually deal with that. Like just because you got your way and you got rid of every player, that doesn't make you a good manager. At some point, you're gonna have to like you're gonna have to prove you're good. You're gonna have to prove that you're an actual good manager. You can get the best out of everybody.
Absolutely. And
so
Villa nearly going 2-0 up. A shot there from John McGinn, I think.
I forgot about McGinn.
And Areola beaten, but just past the post, and that was not too far away. And I'll tell you what, Villa are starting to look quite good this season, and they've got Champions League football. And one particular example of a manager who, never was able. who had his own favourites and who didn't hesitate to get players out. And with a Liverpool connection, which Henry might know, is that of Rafa Benitez. Now, it's no small coincidence that among the Champions League managers that Liverpool have had, Benitez is regarded with possibly the least amount of affection, because apart from that Champions League, he never really won very much with Liverpool. That FA Cup win the following season was extremely lucky. Had it not been for Steven Gerrard, they would have deservedly lost. And his man management was never the best either. So I don't know what it is with some of these Spanish managers. They seem to be a little bit too uber professional, but they end up being a little bit too ruthless and heartless at times. Some of them can't even manage properly. At least Unai Emery is proving to be an exception to the rule because of how he's got the Villa players playing for him as a team. But that point you made over there about, Rafa, Arteta having to learn to get along with difficult personalities someday is that's perfect, because that is going to be part of your learning curve and evolution as a manager. And if you aren't willing to do that, if you want to have this my way or the highway attitude, you don't even have the credentials, unlike Benitez, to do something like that. So that is something that we are going to have to talk about later. And BX Gunner saying, look, Benitez was good at Valencia and he did actually do quite well there, but at Liverpool, apart from that Champions League, he didn't do very much. And the fact that he flopped at Real Madrid and Inter Milan, and also last season was sacked by Celta Vigo with the club dangerously hovering over the relegation zone, I think it's proof that really his best days are long gone. And I don't think Henry will ever forgive Benitez for going on to manage Everton, really. And speaking of Henry, he has a question. What do you make of so many fans thinking that Arsenal can win the title this season? Are they deluded or are they just hopeful?
For me, I think there's something there. I just don't know. I just don't know if there's going to be a lot of factors that come into that. So there's certain things that I like, and then there's certain things I'm like, can we go the whole season doing this? I don't know. That part is going to be up for grabs. Then there's like the other part. There's the other part, and this is the part that pisses me off every single day, is the Champions League. At some point, we're going to have to tackle the Champions League. Our fans, for some reason, don't want to talk about the Champions League. Is because, like, for me, the way I see it is, like, you have to, like, we have to, like, when we get that Champions League, it's going to be the biggest accomplishment at this club, right? So we have to, like, eventually look at, like, dealing with the biggest clubs in the world. So, I mean, at some point, it can't, we're going to have to make moves where we take down like Madrid's, and we can play Madrid's and whatnot.
Oh,
So,
you bet. It's as
that's
if,
my thing.
we want the glory of reaching the Champions League, but we are not serious enough in order to make a difference. And the possible VAR here, maybe a penalty for West Ham. We will take a look at that later. But, Kyle Walsh was in the gaff, but I think there have been some issues with his Wi-Fi. I think he's gone off. I was going to, speak to him, and we'll have to wait for him to hopefully come back on.
Yeah.
And listen, Gavin, mate, he's just had some technical issues, and it's not yet. I think it has been confirmed that it will be a penalty because the referee has just pointed to the spot, and clearly the Villa players are not happy. But yes, we do have Kyle back in, and let me also say that Kyle, after the wonderful success of Ireland at the Olympics, winning all those wonderful medals, I'm sure you would have been absolutely happy. To now come back and to start seeing this type of a performance where we, let's face it, flatter to deceive. You are not a happy chappy, are you, mate?
I'm absolutely not a happy chappy, Manny. Listen, all we can do is get 3 points. First of all, Manny, big up to your pad. I hope you're keeping well. It's been a long time.
Too long.
And big up to the panel and big up to all the chat. You're all legends. I'd just like to say, Manny, that we got our 3 points today, my friend. And that's all we can do is get 3 points no matter what. And beat what's in front of you. And that's what we done. We done a professional performance. We got the 3 points. Am I happy? No, I'm not happy. Because I thought we'd go out there today and I thought we'd blow Wolves off the field. Wolves are let's get something straight. Wolves are brutal. Wolves are absolute dirt. And they're after selling off two players there that be quality players for Wolves. So we're playing nobodies today. And we made tough work of it. Because Wolves had their chances to score. It was a great save there from Ray. In fairness to him, that was a great save from the header. And Wolves looked threatening for a good 15-20 minute patch there in the second half. They grew into the game. We let them grow into the game. So for me, overall, we got the 3 points. Job done. Am I happy? Am I excited? No, I'm not happy and excited. And I want to say this here today. I've already seen enough to know that we're not going to win the World League title.
Absolutely.
We're relying on Havertz. Havertz, once again, I don't know what this man does on the football field. Yes, he took the header well. He was brave. I give credit where credit is due. It was a good goal. But I'm listening to people saying that he was man of the match and he was outstanding and it was a great performance. What are people looking at? What am I missing? Odegaard, couple of nice little touches here and there from him. Saka took his goal very well. Really good strike. Saliba, Gabriel looked okay there in the back line. Comfortable enough. No real threat, really. Why, I ask, is Shevchenko on this team?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Not by now. So overall, Manny, we won the game, but I'm not happy with what I saw. There's a lot to be questioned, and I just don't trust this management to get us over the line. I think once again we will fail all over again.
And so this question to you, obviously, I was speaking with Pargav earlier about the signings that could be coming in, either in September or before. There's talk of Mikel Merino coming in to lend some competition in the defensive midfield area, possibly, pushing Thomas Partey out because Partey also didn't really have the best of games. As Pargav said, Merino was pretty much a sub, but as he proved against Germany in the quarterfinals, he was a super sub and certainly did play his part. And obviously, given, Arteta's connections with Real Sociedad, I mean, we were in for Zubimendi one time. I think that ship's already sailed. But even if we do make some signings, we still don't really have a proper striker. So even if we do make the necessary signings, at least in September, you're still not really trusting of this management, are you?
Absolutely not, Manny. We're looking at Mourinho. This is going on for the last 2 months, this Mourinho deal. It took us 5 or 6 weeks to get in California. It's plain and obvious for the world of football to see that what we need is an out-and-out goal scorer. And for some strange reason, Arteta just, no. And I told everybody on this platform last season, with about 3 months to go, that there was a contact of mine at the Arsenal who told me that we're not getting any striker. That Havertz will be our goal scoring machine for this coming season. And fair play to him, he scored today, but I'm not relying on Havertz to win us the league title.
Yep.
I think this window, Manny, has been an absolute disgrace. A disgrace. This California, people are hyping up the new Nesta, the new Maldini, because he has headband. I was looking at this game on Sky Sports today, and the commentating on Sky Sports, the camera went in on California, he was warming up. And what was the commentating talking about? How good looking the kid is.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
What is that all about? I listened to an interview on Sky Sports last week where the interviewer said to Arteta, California is a good-looking kid. You have a good-looking squad of players. And the manager is a good-looking fella as well. I nearly put the TV out through the fucking window. What's that got to do about winning league titles? This is a disgrace what's going on. And then all of a sudden, California now is the new Maldini, the new best defender in English football. Let me explain something to you, son, because you're all delusional. Sorry, lads, I'm not saying all you. I'm not saying everyone is. But there's a big percentage of Arsenal fans that's delusional. Nobody fucking knew about this California before we bought him. Let's get this straight.
Absolutely.
And now because we buy him, all of a sudden, he's the best centre-back or the best left-back that we've ever had at the football club. It's a disgrace, this fan base. And it pisses me off. Yep. It's time to be real.
Yeah. We've got to be real. I completely agree. And we've got BX Gunner in the chat saying, if Havertz keeps scoring, what can we say then? And listen, that is going to be an if, okay? Because as we were saying, he may score a goal, but today he also missed more than a few, including an absolutely ugly sitter in the second half, which he couldn't even hit the target. And even during the Euros, people were talking about how Nagelsmann kept starting him because of his link-up play and how he was able to make some good moves and unsettle defenses. But if you're picked as a goal scorer, you've got to score. All he scored were 2 penalties. Heck, Nicholas Füllkrug came on as a super sub for Germany and scored more than he did. So, again, I think the worst part is people are going to take a look at this performance against Wolves. And as you said, Kyle, they certainly were a bunch of nobodies. And in fact, they sold Kilman and Neto. Kilman's actually playing for West Ham today, and Neto will be playing for Chelsea tomorrow. So, they have been in many ways substantially weakened. And Nelson Semedo was suspended today, so Gary Doherty was at right back. So that wasn't really a team that was going to be expected to cause too many problems. And yet, instead of being able to, demolish them, as a lot of people said we would do, we made heavy weather of it. And that really is what gets my goat. And Leon Bailey there with a chance to put Villa back in the lead wide. A rather open game so far. And maybe in the second half, I think both teams might tighten up a little bit. But so that's going to be the issue. And we've already spoken a great deal about the transfer about the team and the transfer windows. But Carl, I want to ask you this question now, because before you came on, Parga was also talking about how we will get on in the Champions League. And again, what angers me a great deal is that we don't even seem to be serious enough to make sure that we are prepared to go on a long run in the Champions League. And last season, let's get it straight, we had an easy group, which is effectively a Europa League group. We struggled against Porto, going through on penalties. We were outclassed over 2 legs by a Bayern Munich team that were having a dreadful season under Tuchel. What makes people think that we will have any chance of going far unless we are serious enough to make the signings we need? At least, though, we were able to get rid of some deadwood. Smith Rowe's gone to Fulham. Harsh to call him deadwood, but whatever. Nketiah's gone to Marseille on a loan deal. He won't have the same impact as Aubameyang, but at least he's out of our hair. And yet, again, it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same, isn't it? Kyle?
Yeah, listen, I have to tell you something, Manny and Bargard. Let me explain something. We have 10, not 1, not 2, not 3. We have 10 players still at this club that are dead wood. And we're going to try to compete to win the league title, the 2 cups, unless he throws them in the bin like he always do. And the Champions League is a different format this year. It's going to be much tougher, much harder. We have Eddie Nketiah, Kia War, Tomiyasu, Jorginho, Shevchenko, Fabio Vieira. Like the list goes on. Ramsdale. All these players are all failures. And even the team today. These lads have failed and failed and failed time again and again and again. So everybody needs to relax. I'm being told that we might win the Champions League. I was told that we might win it, man.
Oh,
there were rainbow barons to win it. Let me explain something to you. We have no hope in the Champions League. And this business of going far in a competition. Fuck that. You go and you win it. Not go far in it. What's the point going far? What's that going to do for you? Make a few quid for the club. It's like this, man. I want number 1. Not
Agreed.
number 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6. I don't want to go into the late stages of the Champions League. I want to win it. But you see, the fan base are delusional. And the problem that we have is that mediocrity is acceptable here. So it doesn't matter what happens, Manny, Bargav, and all the rest of Slocum. If we fail this season, which we will, come next season, we will still have the same management, the same owners, the same board, the same deadwood players. These are facts. I'm sorry to say it, Manny, but we're not going anywhere in the Champions League, my friend. We do not have the squad, even if we buy 1 or 2 players before the end of the transfer window. We're still not going any far. We're still not going to win.
I agree completely agree. And, this is why some of these Arsenal fans really want to have the penny and the bun by, saying, let's qualify for the Champions League, get the dosh. And even if we don't go far, at least we will, celebrate having had a journey to be proud of, as they said last season. And the other clubs who exited from Europe never said anything of the sort. So that goes to show you where we are. And now that you've told me about how, people are raving about how good looking our team is, frankly, I think there are several other teams who have better looking players than ours, but they are far more serious about winning. And Steve, if you would like to come on, you are welcome to. I don't know if we have any more people coming on saying, definitely, if you want to take Ramsdale off our hands, we'll be happy to do that. Need a proper keeper. Well, first of all, thank you for David Raya. And I wouldn't mind seeing Ramsdale go the other way, to be quite frank. I think he's wasting a living sitting on the bench at Arsenal. And now he wants to be this model professional who absolutely loves the club all over again after his father came and, pretty much threw him under the bus on an interview. Get out of here with that, seriously. Now, again, I don't know if there's anything much that we can possibly talk about, except to pretty much ask. I think, Kyle, let me ask you, though. I mean, how happy were you, though, with Ireland's success at the Olympics, winning 4 golds and 3 bronzes? I was chatting with Del Boy about watching Danny Whiffen in the pool and also Mona McSharry, and obviously Fintan McCarthy and Paul Donovan winning their golds, Rhys McClenaghan as well. You must have been really, really happy. And I think, as an Irishman, that sporting success has been hard to come by for quite some time. How happy were you, though, with the Olympics?
Yeah, Manny, I was all right about it. I was more happier for the girl there that won the boxing, Keller there from Dublin.
Yes, Harrington, yes.
I thought it was a great, or Harrington, I should say. I thought it was a great achievement from winning it in the last Olympics and then coming back and doing it again this time. I thought it was a great achievement for the girl. Overall, Manny, listen, I give much credit to anyone that's won medals at the Olympics. Fair play to them. It takes a lot of determination, a lot of training, a lot of, discipline. And for a small country like ourselves, it's a great achievement for people to go to the Olympics and bring medals back home. I think that's not just for them and their families and friends, but I think it's very important for children, more so than ever before, to see sports people like that, to have a dream that one day they might be able to achieve the same thing. Because I remember as a young boy growing up, all we ever done was play football. And now I walk around and I go and visit the same locations that I once played on. And you see no child playing football. So you see, technology has completely overtaken the sport, where you see young fellas now would rather stay at home, play PlayStation games all day and watch TV all day than be out on the fields playing, learning the trade, learning how to kick a ball. And I think it's affecting every sport, really. But I talk about football because that's my number one sport. And you see, Manny, I was looking at the European Championships there and the Copa America over the summer. And it saddened me to see how lack of genuine world-class players there's playing in the game today. And I really do believe that's because the young people of today is not doing street football like what we used to. But overall, Manny, to answer your question, It's a great achievement for any young person, and I'm delighted for him. And fair play to him. But I'm more so happier to see children looking up to these people and get the children out and about, Manny, because society has completely changed. There's so much smoking and alcohol and drugs and crime and all this kind of stuff, and it's not good, man. It's not good. So yeah, anything positive with sport, Manny, I'm up for it, man. So fair play to the lads and bringing home the gold and the bronze and the silver and what have you. Fair play to them.
Yeah, great. I'm happy to hear that. And obviously we're trying to get some more people to come on the stream, and
Yeah.
I know
Manny, I
that
just like to say something there, Manny. I like to say a few things there about this fucking Arteta fool. Just get this bit of steam off my chest. What's the crack with this pickpocket stuff? Did you hear about all that?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, you thought the light bulb was bad enough, and now you got
Yeah.
this thing.
And then remember the time he had the Liverpool anthem on in the training ground because we were going down Danfield for the players to get used to it. And we went down Danfield and we got back 4-0. So it didn't make any difference at all. And the light bulb about the energy. Bullshit. Then getting their pockets picked. They be ready for all times. Be ready. Be ready. Be ready. How about you be ready just finish the Premier League title and stop your fucking bullshit, Arteta? How about that?
Absolutely. I mean, he's trying too hard to be innovative and smart and cute and clever, and it just falls flat on his face. But let's go back to Arsenal and talk about the tactics. So, Pargav, we started with our usual 4-3-3, which sort of, ended up going into a 4-2-3-1, but it was a 4-3-3 for the start. And, again, against the Wolves, who had a 4-2-3-1 of sorts, how do you think we were tactically set up today? And do you think that, because we did have most of the possession in the first half, we were creating chances, just not putting them away. Tactically, how do you, Pargav, think that Arteta did, and how do you think we did today?
I don't think there was. All right, so their biggest creative chance was probably came from our mistakes. So I don't think it was like I don't think it was that bad, honestly, when you think about it in terms of like a defensive aspect. My issue was with the creativity for the most part. Like I just felt like we had no creativity on in making chances. I mean, we tried a lot. Like Havertz was making runs, I'll give you that much. But for a while, like I thought it was just gonna be a cross to get a goal, basically. But there was a lot more. I don't know. There has to be a lot more creativity, I think, in my eyes. The intensity was kind of low for me too. So, as far as like you guys saw Rice go up and down. What do you guys make of that? Because I didn't really. I felt like every time he did that, it was just kind of like stagnating.
Yeah. For me, Partey was a bigger issue, but Kyle, maybe you can answer this question.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I thought Rice and Partey were awful today. I thought they were non-existent, really. And if we were playing against a higher quality caliber team, I think we would be in trouble today. I noticed that in the first half we had 66% to play. And what I did notice was that Saliba and Gabriel were basically playing on the midfield line. They were that high up, which meant that they could rely on each other's pace if they got into trouble. They get back, to drop back. But what I noticed also was that the second half, when Wolves started putting the pressure on, all of a sudden, they were 66% possession of football. So, Wolves going to the Emirates Stadium, getting 66% of the ball, it's not too good looking, is it? But I totally agree with the two of you. I think Declan Rice was up and down, really doing nothing much. I thought that it did affect our play. I thought Thomas Partey was anonymous. And I think, look at this. It was the first game of the season. Players are getting back, trying to get fresh again. We won the game. I let them off at this time, but they need to buck up for next week because things need to start changing drastic because we have some tough games coming up in the next few weeks and we cannot afford to blow any of them.
And next week, of course, Kyle, we take a trip to Villa Park to catch up with our former manager and our former goalkeeper, who probably are unlucky to be going into half-time equal at 1-1. They took their goal brilliantly quite early, but haven't been able to break West Ham down since. Um,
Yeah, Paqueta penalty.
Are we playing away to Aston Villa next weekend?
Yes, and the same Aston Villa who took 6 points off us last season, 2 clean sheets, 3 goals conceded by us. There's something about losing to Unai Emery that really makes it even more sickening, because the same Arsenal fans who were jeering at him and saying how delighted they were that Emery was gone now have to sort of face the reality of having him come back and hit us where it hurts. If we had beaten Aston Villa at the Emirates, we would have gone on to potentially win, but he threw a spanner in our works. And Aston Villa have made some great investments this season. They brought in the likes of Onana, Maatsen, of course, the quality left back, and one or two others. And they are also going to be in the Champions League. So in many ways, we get to sort of come up against a Champions League team that has taken things seriously in the transfer window and have brought quite early. How do you see that going? And are you afraid of facing Emery again, Kyle?
Big time. That's what I'm saying here, Manny. I'm rubbing my head. I actually did not know we were playing away at Aston Villa next weekend. We need to raise our game 100% from today, if that's the case, Manny. Because if not, we could be found coming home next week on the bus with 0 points, and we'd be off to a real bad, shaky start. This Aston Villa team they're a quality team, and they have a quality manager. And look what they've done to Arsenal last season. What's not to say they're going to do the same again this season? I think this is a tough game already, Manny. I think we could be under pressure next week, because I think Emery will have us sussed out tactically, and I think he's more tactically better than what Arteta is as a manager. So I think when it comes to the interplay of the game, I think Emery wins all day. So massive game. That is a massive game, and I would not be surprised if we get based.
Wow, big statements there. I mean, they don't call you the volcano for nothing, but obviously, that there's some cause for concern, and it will remain to be seen if we've sort of learnt our lessons from last season. And I love how you spoke about the dead wood at the club and how Zinchenko is still there. Pargav also was making the point when Zinchenko started to invert. That was pretty much when we started to look defensively very shaky. He was talking about that time when Saliba, gifted Cunha a chance to shoot a goal, only for the striker to sort of poke it tamely into Raya's arms. And Pargav, I'm not ignoring you. I'm incorporating you and everything.
It's good. That's good.
So, just to do that. I love the way you mentioned that. It's bad enough that the dead wood, as you say, is still there. But it also goes to show that tactically, Arteta still isn't evolving. And when you have a situation here where you have a manager who still won't change his ways when it comes to dealing with people, who also won't even have the intellectual integrity to realize that he needs to change his tactics and be a little bit more flexible and adapt at least, do you see any hope for us as long as he's manager? And also on him, do you think he will end up developing as a manager and becoming a really good one? For me, I'm not too hopeful on either case.
No, it's a simple answer. Absolutely no. As far as I'm concerned, I think Arteta has taken us as far as he can. And I think that will be proved again and again. I believe that we're not even going to compete against Man City this season. I think we will fall off more so. I think we'll finish about 12, maybe 13 points behind Man City this season. I think to keep up what we've done over the last 2 years, it has to have its toll on the bodies of the players. It has to have an effect. You can't. Saliba and Odegaard and someone as Saka, I think, might have went all season last season without any injuries. Now you're asking them to go a second season without any injuries. Like, the human body is not a machine. And if anything happens to Saliba, or a big player like that, we're in desperate bother. So I think as a manager, tactically as a manager, all you have to do is look at the last season and how he messed up against Aston Villa, for example. And I think that we're not going to achieve anything under this manager. So I believe that, yeah, we will be proved right people will start coming to terms with it within the next year or two. But the problem is, Manny, that they're in talks of a new contract for him. And there are talks, reports are saying it's going to be a 5-year contract and it's going to be worth up to €20 million per season. Now, if we give him that contract and if he fails again, well, he still has 4 years left on his contract. And I can't see the Crankers getting rid of him and have to pay him out a big lump sum of money just like that to get rid of him. So we could be left here with this fella for the next 5 years of winning nothing.
And that is something very scary indeed. And of course, one person, of course, who I now bow to as someone who also knows that we are not going to achieve anything is now in the gaff, as Del Boy would say. Warren, a very good evening to you. Wonderful to have you with us. I'm sure you are not at all happy with the performance, despite the fact that we won today. First of all, how have you been? And I hope you're keeping well these days.
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. How are you?
I can't really complain. And any time I get to speak to you is always wonderful. And I want to say thank you as well for the messages that you've been sending me. And I have to say that you are a person I really look up to in more ways than one. And I hope you appreciate that. But let's also talk about today's game. You definitely are not a happy chappy either, are you?
Well, mate, to be quite honest with you, with everything that's going on at this club, I think it's irrelevant. Now, the reason I say that, first of all, I want to say I 100% agree with everything that Carl's just said. 100%. He's absolutely bang on the money, as he always is. And everything he said is absolutely right. Now, the reason I'm saying it's irrelevant is for two reasons, right? One, because this manager isn't going to win us a trophy again this season. Now, that will be 5 years on the bounce that he's failed, right? The second reason that I'm saying it's irrelevant, because I don't believe within 10 years that this club is going to exist in its current format. And talking about, how are we going to do? How are we going to beat this team and that team? To me, it's irrelevant and I'm bored of hearing it, right? What we should be doing is talking about how we're going to stop the Cronkies killing this club, because there are moves afoot to move competitive games to the United States. I'm sorry, but that it will be an absolute disaster. There'll be the thin end of the wedge. Before you know where we are, the whole club will be relocated out there. The club will be renamed LA Cannons, and it will be the death of the club. So I just can't get excited about this, because I can see the death of this club coming over the horizon, quick, smart. And if we don't do something to stop it, then like I said, the club will die. And I would urge anyone who's got an interest in football and is based in the UK to sign up. If you're in England or Wales, sign up to the Football Supporters Association. Or there is a Scottish version, there is one in Northern Ireland, and there is one in the Republic of Ireland. I've sent the info for the one in the Republic of Ireland to Kyle, right? But because this is a major issue. Anyone who doubts what I'm saying, do your research and you will find that they're having meetings to discuss this issue about competitive fixtures being moved out to outside of the country where the teams are based at FIFA. Okay, so if it's being discussed by FIFA, it's a major issue, because I don't just sit there talking about things like this for the sake of it. Also, the Mayor of London, no less, has come out and said it's a good idea, and he's encouraged Arsenal to pursue it. I don't know whether the man's a Tottenham fan, but there is no way that this is a good idea. It will kill football, and it's not just an Arsenal issue. It's an issue for all football fans all over England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, all over the world, because the football in this, as it is, as we know it, like I said to you, I will not be surprised in the slightest if in 10 years' time it doesn't exist in the format we currently know it, and Arsenal certainly won't be in existence. So the FSA, when Sadiq Khan came out with this, the Mayor of London, they put out a tweet saying, so you're saying, Mr. Khan, that you'd be quite happy to see the North London derby played in New York and Miami, are you? Mate, this is the next Super League. What is they've got planned? They are gonna, I'm telling you now, they will be not a European Super League, there will be a World Super League. And Carl and I discussed this earlier today, didn't we, Carl?
We surely did.
Yeah.
And
it will be
what's going to
a
happen
World
is
Super League, right? With teams from all over the world, from South Africa, South America, from all the continents of the world competing in it. And I'm telling you, no, this cannot be allowed to happen, because if it does, it will be the death knell of football as we know it.
I completely agree with you.
And
Go ahead,
people
Carl.
shouldn't ignore this, because this is the thing that's happening. This is genuinely a thing that's in the pipeline. And as well as that, I can tell you about TV. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bring in a season ticket for TV people, for people to be sitting at home. And you'll be able to watch all your Arsenal matches. Or if you're a Man United fan, you can do it for Man United or Chelsea and so on. And you sit at home and you watch Arsenal play Man United in some stadium in New York City. This is the American owners, the top 5 to 6. They know what's going on. And there's had been talk about Klopp leaving Liverpool because he knows what's coming down the line. And if this happens, football is over. It's finished, done.
I completely agree with
this is starting towards the American people here, and there's no one pointing fingers at the American people or America as a country. We're just talking about what things are being said. This is what's being talked about, and this is a joke. It's disgraceful.
I agree. I mean, I agree with both of you. It's a joke, but of course, we do have an American on the panel. And Bhargav, obviously, I don't know if you follow NFL football very much, but you also know that the NFL have also long since made the decision to play one game every year in England over at Wembley Stadium, if I'm not wrong. Now, obviously, you know, the NFL and the UK have had, you know, a relationship that's gone back quite a few years. There were attempts at the World League. I think even England had a team. They called themselves the Monarchs, and they won the inaugural World Bowl. But this idea of playing one game in London every single year, personally, what's your view on it? And has it really provided that much improvement in the fortunes of the NFL as people says it would have had? Because I want to get a different perspective on this. And obviously, you'll have a lot to say about what Warren and Kyle were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I've heard Warren's viewpoints for like time now. So like, I mean, he's not wrong with some of the fears. I don't blame him in his viewpoints. With the NFL, I guess that's one question, and I'll address the other two. It's like, so the first one with the NFL, there's been a lot more Europe fans because of it. I mean, do people here like it? Not really. I'll tell you that much. Like, there's a lot of people that are NFL fans. They don't like the Wembley games. They don't like the games at Tottenham Stadium because it does ruin a lot of things for them. As far as like the growth of the sport in its own way, like I think it's just expanded its market and like reach. So for the NFL, they don't mind that part. With what you guys are talking about with like the Premier League, like 30, was it like a 38th game or whatever? Yeah, people have talked about that for like years now. I'm not gonna lie to you, like that's been talked about. Two things that will shoot it down is like it would hurt the integrity of the game, right? Like I mean, the Premier League is like home and away for like home and away, so it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have a foreign game. There really isn't a circumvention around that, so that's one thing. A lot of the American fans don't really want that game anyway because we have enough things going on here. We do respect tradition and we do respect history. So a lot of the big soccer fans here, they're like, you know what, we'll go to England. We'll try and make trips over there. Yes, at times it is hard. I'll tell you that much. I mean, at times it can be like £500 a ticket. It does. It is. There is that side to it where we try to go over there and like try and watch a game, and it is crazy pricey, and you're not always it's not always the easiest with the touts and all that. You do have to deal with a lot more touts as a foreigner. As far as like what's gonna happen, that's an issue. That's gonna be an issue everywhere, but I don't see it. I really do not see that happening. As far as like Real, like La Liga has wanted that for years now. People have talked about like the River Plate Boca Juniors game being here, also. But the things that like really, there's certain games that work culturally and certain games that won't work. Like a Premier League game in like the US, there's a lot. We just doesn't make sense. So in those two regards, yeah. Now as far as like the Club World Cup goes, that is going to happen. I think that is next year. Like we didn't qualify for it. Chelsea did, and I think it's like Manchester City and like Chelsea did, I think. But that's been in the work for decades. That's because FIFA's only revenue stream has always been like the FIFA World Cup. So now they want that like other revenue streams. So in the US, I think we have the Club World Cup. Now, as far as like, there's also been pushback on that because of the fixture congestion. So we'll see what happens with that one next year. But that's
yeah. And obviously, you know, the Confederations Cup tournament that I enjoyed watching was scrapped in favor of that, and I could never forgive that. But it is what it is. And Warren, I want to ask you right now. Obviously, you know, one of the things which stopped the then UEFA Super League from taking fruition at that time was that, you know, fans obviously got out in droves and protested against it. And we all saw the scenes at Old Trafford where, you know, they were protesting loudly, and some rowdy fans even got into the stadium and started throwing some flares. I think people started to realize then at that particular moment that in as much as, you know, the fans were maybe in some ways went a bit too far by breaching that security, it just goes to show that at the end of the day, football will always be of the fans, by the fans, and for the fans. So surely if there is going to be some sort of an outcry from fans of every single club in the Premier League against this proposal to have a game in America, then surely, you know, that should be the final nail in the coffin for that proposal as well. Why can't we be confident about that?
I've got absolutely no confidence whatsoever, Manny, that what you've just said will happen. The reason it's different this time is it will happen on a slow, step-by-step basis. The big mistake they made was to try and bring it in straight away, right? If they said it's going to be 1 or 2 games a year, they probably got away with it. And this is how this will start. There'll be 1 game a year in the United States, like the Americans have done with their NFL games and what have you. And I completely agree with 100% everything what Barkev said, right, about this issue, right? It's not the same when it comes to Wembley. I'd much rather watch the team that I support, Chicago Bears, playing in Chicago, right, in front of their own fans. It's completely different, right? But what I could see happening is, first of all, it's 1 or 2 games a season. Once fans get used to that, then it'll be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. And then before you know where you are, the whole thing is over there, right? So Manny, I've got no confidence that this will happen. It'll be a creeping thing that happens. So this is why it needs to be nipped in the bud now, right? And people need to start taking action and raising a voice about it. Because, to be honest, I'm a bit shocked that there hasn't been more been spoken about it, to be quite frank. Because
Completely. Yeah, go ahead.
it's a big issue, particularly amongst Arsenal fans, right? Because on the website of this football club, right, they were advertising the matches for the games against Liverpool and against Manchester United in America. Fair enough. But what they were doing was they were calling them home games, right? But they were in Los Angeles. And they kept going on as like calling it our home from home and stuff like that. So this tells me unequivocally that they are preparing the ground, getting people used to the idea that we have got a home in Los Angeles, and that's where they're going to be taking the club. I'm telling you, this is what is happening. It's creeping, gradual release of information to get people used to the idea. And this is not a new thing. This like the way that they release information slowly. It's happened in other sectors as well. I believe it's going on at the moment with the UFO phenomenon as well. That there's this drip feeding effect over the last 50 years, getting us prepared for a
Chinese water torture
release of information, right?
Yep.
So because this is what is going to happen with football. It will happen quicker with football than it has with UFOs, but it will happen like that. It'll be a slow drip effect, like calling it our home from home, these sort of things, advertising it on the website as home games. And you got Sadiq Khan coming out saying stuff. Yeah, I think it's a great idea and I think Arsenal should do it. I'm sorry, it's not acceptable. It isn't. And if I would like to see the ex-Labour leader
Jeremy
come out
Corbyn,
and call him out for it.
You and me both.
Yeah, exactly. Get Jezza on the case and like get him to have a look, say and call him out, because this is not acceptable. This cannot be allowed to happen, and fans need to wake up. And the reason I said particularly Arsenal fans, because they seem to be the ones in English football that are at the forefront of it. We will be the easy target because our fans aren't rebellious. They're not. Arsenal fans, I've never known them to be really rebellious. I've only ever seen one instant at Arsenal where the fans really kicked off really badly. Other than that, they're really docile with things like this. They don't kick off, right? So we are the easy target for this to happen. And
absolutely.
I think the FA need to really tighten up this fit and proper persons test when these people buy and invest into football clubs, particularly when it's American. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to Bargav or any American people that are watching. I haven't got anything against them. In fact, I love America. I think it's a great country, and as a great Irish rock singer keeps saying, it's not a country, it's an idea. And it is an idea. He's absolutely spot on, right? But the issue is that these people have got no interest in our football club. They bought into it for one reason and one reason alone, is to make money. They're not interested in Arsenal Football Club. I do not want someone who's only interested in it being the owner of our football club is to make money off the back of it, because that is all it is about. I'm sorry, it is. And that is why I'm so vehemently opposed to having him as our owner, because he's in it for all the wrong reasons.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's why I call him Cranky instead of Cronky. And just going back to the on-field matters, of course, I was talking with Kyle before you came on about how Arteta's refusal to evolve tactically as a manager in terms of tactics, and also his man management, means that he's never going to change. He might never even become a great manager, and yet we could be stuck with him if the news is true for another few years. At least. So at least if we had some seriousness in trying to, win things, and maybe we could be looked at. But the more and more I think about it with everything you've said and what's going on, we could be setting ourselves up to be the biggest laughing stock in not just English football, but global football. And surely that must make your blood boil, yes?
Yeah, it does. Manny, can I just say one more thing about this Arteta nonsense, right?
Go ahead.
We have a man sitting there. He's employed pickpockets to tell the players to drive home the message, we need to be prepared, right? Yet the club has failed to get a squad together to be prepared for the start of the season, right? We've got players who hardly played any pre-season games, right? Who aren't ready to be starting Premier League matches. So what have we been doing in pre-season? He's going on about people being prepared. What about him being prepared and getting the team prepared for the new season? He has failed with that, just like he's failed with everything else that he's done at this football club. The man is a glorified trainer. These stunts are the sorts of things that trainers do. I know because I used to be a trainer. You set up these games for people, playing with light bulbs and like getting people to pickpocket and stuff like that to teach them how important it is for this or that, right? The man is not a football manager. He is not a football coach. When are people going to get it through their heads? This man is not the man to take Arsenal to a trophy. Any trophy, whether it be the League Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League or the Premier League. He will not do it. And I'm going to say it now. It doesn't matter how many years he's here, whether it's the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever it is, that man will never win a major trophy all the time he's the manager of this club. It's an absolute shambles what is going on at this club, and I'm sick to the back teeth of it. I really am. I'm not excited by the new season, and I couldn't care less about what's going to happen. I'm just not interested because I know it's not leading anywhere, and because I know what's coming down the track. And I know that no one is going to raise a voice to stop it from happening.
Absolutely. And I've learnt my lesson from seasons gone by to never, ever trust your judgment. So, as always, thank you very much indeed for coming. And, I think this is probably going to be the time when we're going to start wrapping everything up. But, before we do that, though, let me get just for fun, get some predictions for the Aston Villa game. As we speak now, Aston Villa are right now drawing 1-1, and it's an open game with chances for both teams. Aston Villa having the better of the chances. We'll see how things pan out. But Pargav, based on our performance today, how well do you think we'll do against Unai Emery's men next week?
No, so I'm looking at this game. Duran just missed like an open net almost. Like it's like he missed a really good chance. I mean, this game's kind of even. This game's kind of even, actually. It's
Duran clearly is not hungry like the wolf today. If he were hungrier, he would have buried that. But what's your prediction anyway?
Let's see. At Villa Park. So when we go to Villa Park, what time is this game? It's like later in the day, right? It's like 12:30.
I don't quite know. I'll have to check that for you. Hold on a minute. I've got the thing here. It's going to be at I think it's at 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
No. I think it'll be a late kickoff, so it'll be 5:30 UK time.
No, the reason I ask is usually if it's like the early fixture, we don't ever do well on those. Just from what I've seen, I feel like it's going to be somewhat of a draw. Like both teams are pretty like strong, but like we could probably nick it too. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna say like something like that. Something like that. I feel
Yeah.
like it's
Well,
but also I forgot to mention because you guys were talking about like the fixtures earlier. You know the team we have after that. The 3 teams we have after that.
I do. We've
Not
got Brighton and Hove Albion at the Emirates. We've got the North London Derby over at the Tottenham Stadium. And our 5th game sees us go to the defending champions on the 22nd of September, 4:30 p.m. UK time, kickoff on a Sunday.
Yeah, so I'll say like those 5 games could it's gonna be a big those gonna paint a big picture of what's gonna happen with our season.
You
Like
bet.
those early games. So
You bet, you bet, you bet. We've always made good starts, but this one's going to be a test. And if we fail to start very well, we could be in for a world of trouble. Kyle,
wait, one last.
Go ahead. Yeah, go
so
ahead,
one of the reasons I want to say that is because like Emi Martinez is as a keeper to play against him is like almost like a nightmare. So I feel like it could. I feel like it's gonna be like a low scoring game, like a low scoring draw, or like
yeah.
Either way. So go ahead.
But an interesting factoid is that ever since Martinez joined Villa, whenever we scored against Villa, we've gone on to win. There haven't been any draws since we've played them. So if we score against him, we give ourselves a half chance. Kyle, what do you think's going to happen against Villa? Can we nick a draw at least? Could we nick a win, Jorginho style?
I think we're going to fail. I think Aston Villa will beat us 2-1. And I feel that we're up against a top-class manager in Unai Emery. I think tactically he will outweigh Arteta. I think in Villa Park, I think Emery or Martinez will be up for that game as well. I fancy Villa. I put my money on. If I had to put a base on, I put my base on Villa to win. I didn't see much there with this Arsenal team today to convince me. Also, I'd just like to say that I think by the time that Man City game is over, Arsenal Football Club could be out the league title.
A very big call, and we know how you like your big calls. Warren, the final word on you. Do you predict a lucky win or a draw, or will we be in for a shellacking?
I think Arsenal will lose 2-0.
And just also briefly, what's your view on Unai Emery as a manager? Did you want him sacked, and do you think he's done brilliantly and is much better than Arteta any day of the week and twice on a Sunday?
Mate, he's light years ahead of Arteta. I would take Manny. I would take you over Mikel Arteta.
Oh, you are too kind.
Hey, mate, what has he got on his CV? This is the thing. I find it staggering why the man was appointed in the first place, right? From a football perspective. But when you think about everything I've said this evening, when you throw him into the equation, it makes perfect sense because they knew that if they appointed a big name manager, no big name manager in the world would have wanted to take that job on, knowing what their plans were. And Kyle is 100% right what he said about Jurgen Klopp. It is the reason that he left Liverpool. I can 100% guarantee it. One point in the future, the truth will come out and it will be about this business of moving fixtures overseas because there's no way that Klopp would have put up with that. You saw how he stood up for the fans over the rising ticket prices. We saw how he stood up for the fans with the European Super League. And I bet you he's just had enough of the bullshit that comes out of the mouths of those American owners at Liverpool and said, that's it, I've had enough of this nonsense, I'm off.
And good for him too. At least he's definitely a man of his principles and unlike someone we know. And on that note, we are going to end it. I want to say thanks to all of you for coming in. It obviously was a stream that, had its difficulties getting off the ground due to some technical issues. And we had a good talk about the game and obviously some talk about some things away from the game. And, if this performance today is going to be an indicator of anything, it's that we need to improve. Otherwise, it'll be the same story again and again, rinse and repeat. And after a period of time, even the most deluded and docile of Arsenal fans will be sick to the back teeth of it, as Warren has astutely and eloquently said. And speaking of which, I'm going to get
Manny,
everyone to... yes, sir.
Mate, can I just stop you there? Right? You're 100% right. But the problem is they won't, because I was watching LBC, right? It's a radio station in the UK, right? And
I know
there's this
LBC.
guy on there called James O'Brien, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these people were calling in, like talking about the rioters and stuff like that and trying to support them. And he was trying to unpick their arguments and he was pulling them apart. And at the end, when he like destroyed all their arguments, he said, right, after talking to me, do you still feel the same? And they would go, yeah. So he said, it wouldn't have mattered. Anything I said to you, you wouldn't have changed your mind. No. So, and this reason I've said that is because it's exactly the same with these Arteta fans, right? It doesn't matter what you say to them. They don't care about logic or reason. They won't change their mind. And it's because they've been brainwashed and they're obsessed with the man. So, yeah, I've got no confidence that these fans are going to turn on him because they've been brainwashed and they're obsessed. It's like an infatuation. And when people are obsessed and infatuated and obsessed like that, they don't change their mind. There's no helping them. And
Absolutely
that's
not.
I find quite depressing. But sorry, Manny, to have interrupted you, friend.
I mean, you just mentioned when like people say they're in love. It's like that's pretty much what you just described.
Yep, it's a question of falling in love and falling in line, and when you do,
No,
both,
because some of these, no,
it's
funny because like I've had arguments with some of these people too, so it's like and it's beyond logic almost. It is beyond logic, so
yeah.
I think I get your point. Actually, I get your point.
And that's the thing. When you fall both in love and in line, in terms of your sanity, is not a good sign. And on that, we are going to end it. But I will get everyone to shout out their socials. First of all, Warren, thank you very much indeed for coming on. Do please tell us more about your channel and what you've got coming up in the pipeline. Will we be seeing more of your Soccer Saturdays this season?
Not in a minute, Manny, because I'm working on a really big project. I'm going after the Scottish Football Association.
Oh, lovely.
That pitiful performance at the Euros and why it happened. Right, it's going to be a monstrous stream, and I'm going for a big bat with both barrels, mate. So this has been in the pipeline for about 6 weeks now. That will be coming soon. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. It's nearly finished. I've just got to work on a few other things. I've also got something coming up soon, hopefully with Kyle, when he's going to be talking about his Desert Island football matches. So that will be interesting. So yeah, it's looking good. Also, on my channel, anyone who's interested, if they go to the community tab, you'll be able to find out more about the Football Supporters Association. Please go and get involved. Join. It's free to join. You don't have to pay. But I'm urging everyone to get involved with them because we need to be prepared. And coming down the line, it is going to kick off, and we all need to unite and fight this nonsense, right? Because otherwise, football in this country is going to die. It's dead. I'm telling you now. So just make sure you're prepared. And like I say, it doesn't cost anything. All you need to do is spend a couple of minutes filling in an online form on a website, and then you're in.
I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, as someone who watched all of Scotland's games in the Euros, was cheering them on and was absolutely heartbroken when Hungary knocked them out. I'm looking forward to that report and looking forward to hearing everything that you have to say. But once again, thank you for coming on. And we hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you for having me, Manny.
Wonderful. And Mr. Walsh, great to see you again. The volcano in full flow, erupting loudly as ever. Will we be seeing a lot more of you? And Aston Villa have just taken the lead. Could they go on to win? And I think your prediction of a 2-0 a win for Villa over Arsenal could be coming true. But back to you. Tell us about your socials, where we can find you, and if you have anything special coming up apart from what Warren has said. And I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, Manny. First of all, big up yourself. Big up the Bargav. Great to meet Bargav. He's had been a great supporter of mine over the years. And as usual, the beyond the panel with the legend himself, Mr. Warren. I'd just like to say, after the chat, all legends. I don't know, Manny. Maybe you know. I've had lots of surgeries over the summer months. There, man. I haven't been too well, but glad to report that I'm making a comeback and recovering well and getting stronger by each day. And yeah, I have a new background now for my green screen or whatever you want to call it for my channel. I'm getting a laptop on Monday. Warren has kindly told me that he's going to help me to have it all set up for the proper way, because you're going to see a hell lot of me over this season. I'm making a strong comeback, and I'm going to try to do 4 or 5 lives each week, and I'm going to come up with a bang, because I just feel that things need to be said, and I feel that sometimes it's not being said. And yeah, so you're going to see a lot of the volcano this coming season. So I'd like to say big up to you all. Thanks for all the support. Keep smashing that subscribe button, and thanks very much.
Okay, so Kyle Walsh Gunner is your channel, and I also am following you on Instagram, so do please stay in touch with me on that. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you.
And big up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pargav, we were joking about how Duran was not hungry like the wolf, but he's just given Villa a lead, a fairly priceless one. But thank you for coming on from the beginning, and I hope you'll be keeping yourself safe. Tell us what you've got coming up and where we can find you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do watch-alongs this season. This is probably the most important. This is one of the most important Arsenal seasons. Even though I said that for like the last couple of years. This is very important that we win something this year. So I'll definitely do, as time permits, like watch-alongs with like Tony Claude Gunner TV. It's always fun to just look at the game and see what's going on. Apart from that, probably go on like Wolfang Division every once in a while, but as time permits. But big up to Del Boy. This channel is always great for like post-match reviews. Every time I come on, it's always fantastic. So I hope everyone that's new like subscribes, and hope Del Boy's doing well.
Yeah,
these days,
Del Boy's sort of out of station and out of commission from the sounds of it, but obviously he sends his regards, and do please give my best to Tony Claude and tell him that I hope to catch up with him soon. But once again, without further ado, I want to say thank you to all the 3 of you, and thank you to everyone who's joined in the chat. And we do have a late comer to the chat. Rich from Rich Sports, Arteta in or out? I think you've got the verdict over here, mate. Most of us, at least 3 of us 4, are very much Arteta out, and we don't really have much confidence. But all I can say is that we will see whatever happens. But big up to everyone in the chat, the likes of Gavin O'Flaherty, Static, who came in late, Ryan Stockley, and AJ Byatt, Mr. B, Henry Ray Baker. And if there's anyone that I have missed, Aces as well at the very beginning, and Luke James too. Can't forget them. Anyone I've forgotten, checks in the post. But all of you in the chat have made this stream what it is. And as I said, it didn't get off to the best of starts, but we got something done. We hope to see you sometime next week, and maybe we'll do some watch-alongs for the Champions League if any of you are going to stay up late for that. But until then, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great Sunday. Take care of yourselves. God bless each and every one of you, as Del Boy would say. And as I would say, we are out.
Henry. What a goal! Side of goal!